So we'll get started. As people join, they can tune in. So first of all, wish all of you a very blessed Thaipusam today. So as you know, today is a very significant day. I think you may have read about the significance of this day on the Isha blog or different channels. Even we posted on our channel today. So I hope all of you are making use of this day today. So this is generally considered a very significant day because it is on this day that many yogis chose this day to attain mahasamadhi, or which is considered as the the ultimate in for a person who is a spiritual seeker to attain to mahasamadhi is considered ultimate blessing. And this is something, for many yogis, they chose this particular day because the way the situation is on this day, it is very conducive. And if someone is aware and can make use of it, it becomes much more easy for them to transition. So it's a very auspicious day. And as you also know that on this day, the Linga Bhairavi Devi was consecrated 13 years before, and also Vijima attained Mahasamadhi 26 years before. So today is the 13th anniversary for the Linga Bhairavi consecration and 26th anniversary of Vijima's Mahasamadhi. So very significant day. And Vijima is an inspiration for all spiritual seekers because this is something, as Sadhguru mentioned, that out of her devotion and love, she just transcended and attained to Mahasamadhi, which is considered the ultimate goal of all spiritual seekers. And today, you will see that this particular day, Pournami today, is known in many different names. I think some places they call it as Magh Pournami or Dhanya Pournami in South. So basically, it's like a Purnima or fulfillment, where there's a special significance on the way the position of the planets or the arrangements are on this day, which is very conducive for spiritual seekers. So I just thought that we can meet today. Just it's been a long time since I have come for a live session, so I just thought that it would be good to catch up with all of you and see how we can I thought we can also use this opportunity to look by how things have gone so far. So and also see if you have any questions, to see if we can address that, and also let you know about what is in store in this coming year. So it's been now 6 years since we started Yogi Re. So I had finished the training in 2016, and we started teaching after that. So this is going to be the 7th year, for us, because we have finished 6 years. So since 6 years, we have been based in Bengaluru and been teaching programs in and around Bengaluru, and also online programs. So I think many of you have been a part of some of our programs or our live sessions, whether it's online programs or offline programs. So some of you have been a part of them, and some of you have also, even though you have not been a part of any program, you have been there on a broadcast group or following us on social media. So first of all, I would like to thank all of you for all your support in these last 6 years, which has helped us, carry on. And it is because of your constant inputs, your support, and because of this we have been able to come so far. And this year, the 7th year, I just thought that I should see how I can do something which helps me break out of my comfort zone as well. So in these last 6 years, I've been mainly sticking to programs and offerings which are based around Bangalore. So we have been doing programs here, and day programs, residential programs, online programs. Yes, we have been doing that since last few years. So it has been on my mind from quite a few years to see if we can do programs outside. We have also received many requests from people where they've shown interest where they can support us if we can come to their place and offer any programs over there. So in these last few years, we have got a lot of requests from people in India, in different parts, and also abroad, who wanted us to come and visit and also do programs in their place. So I've been I've been kind of pushing that for many reasons, because last few years, of course, couldn't travel much because of the virus. And also after a certain period of time, you tend to get a little comfortable when things are happening in the same place. So it's been some time since we have stepped outside. So I thought that this year, in this year, I should try to see if I can travel to different places, and if possible, if there is support in those places, can even offer some programs over there. So that's the intention this year. Let's see how it goes. We since this since this is going to be very challenging in a different way, because when you are in a particular place, you kind of know all the arrangements over here. You know people, you know venues, and it's much more easier to do classes. But when you are traveling and when you go to a new place, it's like you everything is unpredictable. You have to see how to make things happen, and it requires a lot of support. So but anyway, nonetheless, it is always good to try and break limitations and to step out of your comfort zones. So we'll see if I can do this this year. So this year may have to change a few things in terms of how we are offering programs, and the frequency of programs, and what kind of programs we offer. So anyway, I've kept it flexible. So one thing which we can do is, if those of you, if you would like to support in any possible way to organize programs in your place, wherever you are staying, whether in India or abroad, if you would like to support in organizing any programs over there, so I'll share a link with you, which you can fill up. So we'll also update this link in the description for this live session. In the caption, we'll update that, and I'll also share this link with you. So if you can fill up this form and give us your details, where are you based and in what ways you can support, whether you can support in organizing programs, or whether you can just be like a guide and give company, or you'd like to come along, or in whichever way, if you would like to. So you can please fill in this form and let us know, and I'll just see how it pans out. If if in this year we can try to visit few places. So this has also been there in my mind, to travel to different places and explore, because it has always been very fulfilling, to travel to different places, to explore different cultures, to meet different kinds of people, and see how this common thread runs within all of us. So just yesterday, I came back from Varanasi actually. So I was there for about 4 days, for 5 days. So it was a very intense experience, and this was the first time when I just went alone. I just traveled alone, and I just thought that I'll spend a few days over there. So it was a very fulfilling experience, just going there, not having any agenda in mind, just seeing how I can spend time and soak in the energy of the place over there, the temples, the ghats. I think many of you would have heard about the famous ghats over there, especially the Manikarnika Ghat, which is very famous. So I spent a night over there, and this was like the first time when I just observed closely how how death is happening. It's not death is happening, it's just like how a body is being burnt from the start to finish. It took almost 3 hours, and it was something which was initially I just felt like, what is this? but then you have to come to terms with reality very soon, which it's better that we come to terms with it as soon as possible. So it was a very intense experience, just spending the night over there, seeing how it's happening. And surprisingly, one thing which I observed is, there were about 20-25 bodies burning simultaneously over there, but there was not even one person crying over there. That was a surprise, the way they were going about with things. So I just recalled, I Sadhguru was mentioning that Kashi is considered as the, you know, Mahashamshan, or, Maha cremation ground. It's like one of the biggest cremation grounds. The whole city was built to celebrate life and death. And the way it was built and consecrated, that people who wanted to end their life, or at least people who wanted to, see who for whom spiritual for whom moksha or liberation was the highest goal, they always wanted to choose to end their lives in Kashi. So whenever so they traveled all the way to come to Kashi and spend the last part of their life over there, so that if they die over there, they can attain to moksha or liberation. So it's one of the oldest civilizations. So there's so much to learn. If we just, there are so many places, especially in India, I've observed. And as you know, Sadhguru was mentioning that the Saptarishis whom Shiva trained, he sent them to different parts of the world to spread this, you know, uh, his tools and this message, that how yoga can transform. So it's not just in India, but in different parts of the world, that you will see that the remnants of this can be found. So there's so much to learn and explore if one is open. So personally, for me, I felt that when I travel to places, somewhere or the other, this common thread, I can, somehow notice this. Especially in India, you will see. I have not traveled, much abroad as of now. I've just gone to Tibet and Nepal for the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. But at least in India, wherever I've traveled, I've noticed this, that the way, whichever place you go, you will see that whether it is Shiva, or whether it is, Mahabharata, Ramayana, it's like all these things are so much, intricately woven with every place. Wherever you go, you'll find, a linga, you'll find a temple, you'll find something or the other like this. And no place is left untouched. It doesn't matter wherever you go. And I suppose this is the case abroad also in many places. So it would be good to explore, and at the same time see if we can offer these tools as well to many more people. So hope to do more of that this year, and would require all of your support. So we'll share this link. I'll let me see if I can share it here as well. Yeah. So this is the link. You can, if you can visit this link and you can fill the form, then we can see how things can happen. Please fill in your details with your contact and where you stay, etc., and what ways you would like to support, and we'll see how it's possible. If not this year, maybe at least once we have this database, whenever it's possible, we will see how it can happen. So that's something in terms of what's in store this year, and hope all of you are doing well, and looking forward for Mahashivaratri in these next few days. That's one of the biggest events which is going to happen. And for those of you, if you're not able to come to the Isha Yoga Center, at least see how you can make use of it by staying up on that night. So I think in India still there is no public holiday on Mahashivaratri. So even if you don't get a holiday, see if you can take off on that particular day, or if not on that day, the next day. Because generally, if you stay up overnight for Mahashivratri, then next day, you may not be able to go to office if you want to sleep in the morning. So if you can plan your schedule in such a way that you can at least spend that whole night staying awake, it'll be a very powerful possibility. So there is an, I think the main events are going to happen in the Coimbatore ashram. So you can see if you can come there or join it online. Even in Bangalore, I don't know what is the arrangement they have made, but since they have a center now and Adi Yogi established, so I guess there must be some celebration in Bangalore as well. So wherever you can join, see if you can make use of Mahashivaratri, and tune into the event, at least online, if you're not able to come offline. Okay, so if you have any questions, if you can please post that on the chat, then we can try to take a look at them and see if we can support you. Okay. Main event will be happening out of the Coimbatore ashram. So there's a question, where will the main event be happening? So the main Mahashivaratri event will be happening in Coimbatore ashram. So I guess right now the Bangalore ashram, the Chikbalapur ashram is not yet equipped to house people. So it may take a year or two, I guess, to have a full-fledged Mahashivaratri event over there, because there's so much which is involved in organizing a Mahashivaratri program. So I'm not sure what they'll be doing. Might be they'll be live streaming it. They'll be putting some screens over there and live streaming the event in Bangalore, in Chikbalapur ashram. I'm not sure if they'll be doing that, but the main event will be happening live in Coimbatore actually, which will be streamed across different platforms. Okay. Ujjwal is saying if I can come live more often. Okay, sure, I'll try. And should we sleep the next morning after Mahashivaratri? Well, if you can, if you can stay awake even the next day after staying awake the whole night, then that's great. Otherwise, generally, what I've seen is that once you are awake for the whole night, then in the morning you want to catch up on some sleep and take rest. So generally, most of them, by the time it's morning, it's like, whether you like it or you don't like it, you you just fall dead. So if it is not happening like that for you, then you can even stay and then sleep the next night if that is the case for you. But if it is not, then it's okay. At least try to stay awake on Mahashivaratri night. Okay. Unable to open the link. Okay. You can just copy and paste it if it's possible. Let me see if I can add HTTPS and okay. I think now you should be able to access it because I've added HTTPS. Okay. There's no accommodation. Well, I'm not sure about the accommodation in Coimbatore. I think it might have been booked by now for people who wanted to visit in Mahashivaratri. So generally during Mahashivaratri, it's a challenge to get accommodation. So I would suggest that if you don't get accommodation inside the ashram, you can at least book something in the city in Coimbatore, and that will be a good option for you to come there at least on Mahashivaratri, and then go back to the city. So lots of people, they choose this. So at least that they can come to Coimbatore maybe on that same day or the previous day. They can stay in the city, maybe near the railway station or airport, wherever you want to go. Find a place over there, and then from there you can travel. Lots of transportation options are there, like bus or auto or cab or something. You can do that and reach the place, and then come back once the event is over to your stay area, and then check out if that is an option. You take some rest over there in your stay place, and then maybe you can leave. Okay. There's a question about Mahashivaratri sadhana. So Mahashivaratri sadhana, I'm not sure about the dates. So just have a look at the Mahashivaratri event website. So I think they have given specific dates on which you can start the sadhana. So Mahashivaratri sadhana is a good way in which you can make use of it, and you can prepare yourself appropriately for Mahashivaratri. So I think you can do the sadhana even if you have not started. There is a 14-day or 7-day or 3 days or even 1 day option, I think, to do the sadhana. So please have a look at the website which speaks more, which has more details about this sadhana, how you can make use of it. And whatever dates are given, you can start from that day. If it's given that you can start from today for 14 days sadhana, you can do that, or else you can start from the next cycle wherever it's mentioned. And I think those of you, especially ladies, I think they were doing the Bhairavi sadhana today. Today is the culmination day, so some of you may have already culminated it, or otherwise you may be planning to do it sometime today. Hope you had a good and fruitful sadhana. I'm doing the Bhairavi sadhana as well. Still, I think few weeks left before we culminate. I think it's on 18th or 19th, I think, the culmination for gents. So for ladies is a short one. So you must be culminating it today. So whichever sadhana you can do, either you're doing the Shivanga sadhana or Bhairavi sadhana or Mahashivaratri sadhana, just see if you can pick up one of these at least, because this time, especially until Mahashivratri, is something which is very powerful. And for people to make use of this time, these sadhanas were developed or they're designed so that one can, make use of this time and prepare themselves accordingly. So whichever you want, some of you are doing multiple sadhana, you're doing Shivanga and Bhairavi and even Mahashivaratri sadhana, because more or less it's like similarly structured. So if you can manage that, it's fine. Otherwise, just see if you can, even if you're not done so far, try to see whichever you can do now. I think Shivanga is not an option now. It's already started. Bhairavi sadhana also, it's not an option, but Mahashivaratri sadhana you can still start based on your availability when you want to start. So please have a look at it and see if you can make use of it. Okay. Okay. Agni series videos are very helpful. Thank you so much. Glad that it's been helpful for you. So for those of you looking to learn more about yogic diet, so you should see if you can check out the Agni series videos on our YouTube channel. So in these Agni series videos, you'll find what I have done is you have tried to collate all the information which Sadhguru has spoken about various aspects about yogic diet and lifestyle. Especially on yogic diet, you'll find a lot of information. Most of the videos are about yogic diet itself, how many meals to eat, what to eat, when to eat, how to eat. Everything is covered in that. So even if you're not able to do our online program, which we generally do once in 3-4 months, if you can look at Agni series videos, it will help you get a very deep understanding about yogic diet and how to implement it. So that's something which you can check out. If you want more details about yogic lifestyle and how to lead a yogic life and different yoga programs offered by Isha, then there is a playlist called as Save Soil Sadhana, which is there on our channel. There are about 100 videos in that playlist, which cover different aspects about these things. Whether it's yogic lifestyle, yoga programs, and many other things. So that is something you can check out. So combining both these playlists, the Agni series playlist and the Safe Soil Sadhana playlist, if you just go through these two things, right, you will see that most of the information which Sadhguru has spoken about in terms of sadhana, yogic lifestyle, yogic diet, yogic cooking, Isha programs, all of this you will find it collated in these videos. So I put this out online so that it is helpful, because for many of them, just watching a video itself can inspire them to take the next step. So please see if you can make use of that. Okay, Govindana is saying that I have lost involvement in everything. Okay, but I do my sadhana regularly. What should I do? So if it is happening for you uh, that you are doing your sadhana, but still you don't feel that connect right now, as you're sharing that your involvement is something which you're feeling is lacking, though you're doing the practices, your involvement is lacking, then maybe it is time there you spend some time on your own and really look at this and see that why did you start this in the first place. Whatever practice which you're doing right now, what made you do this program, what made you start this and include these practices in your life. If you spend some time and see that what were the reasons which which actually pushed you to kind of start these things, and dig deeper and see that what has changed since then for you. Maybe maybe you're doing the practices, but the willingness is missing. Maybe it has become very mechanical after some period of time. It is just you're doing the practices because you've been doing it every day, and it is happening like that, so you just want to continue, and there's a fear that, okay, if I don't, maybe it'll break, the cycle will break, and I'm not sure how we'll be able to come back. So maybe when you're doing the practices, you're not finding the involvement, but still you're doing the practices. So just look and see, because generally, if such a thing happens, there somewhere, there's a disconnect. Maybe you're not finding somewhere, you are considering whether this is important or not important, or maybe you're not seeing much benefit. So, or you are having there are some issues which are unresolved right now for you, and those are pressing issues, and unless you resolve them, you don't find that you can focus on anything else. Maybe those are something which is very pressing for you, and if those are resolved, then maybe you will be able to focus more on your ultimate well-being. But right now, that is like a pressing need for you or a pressing issue for you. So it could be many of these things. So just look into it and see, because sometimes what happens is, right, like for example, yoga is not the top priority for all of us, because maybe right now you're focusing on your studies or in your job or whatever else, that may be something which is very important for you right now. But you'll notice that if these things get settled for you, then slowly, your interest towards seeing what is more than this, what is the next step, or how can I get deeper inside, these things will become much more easier. But if those things are not solved for you, these basic things, which are needed for survival, then you will see that it becomes very difficult for you to turn inward. All the time we're thinking about, what about this, what about that. So just look into yourself and see where what could be the reason. And if it could also help if you spend a few days in silence actually. So if you can go to the ashram, if it's possible for you, and spend a few days, about 3 to 5 days in silence, and just see, especially what I have seen is, whenever I go into silence, it helps me to come to regain that intensity and get back to my practices in a very different way. Especially when you're doing your practices, after some point of time it may become mechanical. So if you take these constant breaks, where maybe once in 3 months or something, you just cut yourself off from all communication, especially use of mobile phones, written communication, TV, or whatever else. Just don't speak to people for a few days. Don't have any outside interaction, and just try to spend some time on your own. It can help, help you to look more deeply within yourself and see what is really needed. So for me, silence really helps. So that's why I keep taking silence every once in 3 months. I try to go into silence for at least 5 to 7 days. So if you can try to do that, it could help you, to get some more clarity, and maybe your intensity can also be increased. Your involvement, whatever you feel is missing, it can help if you just start afresh, spend a few days in silence and start afresh. So see what can help you. Or for a lot of people, just attending a program also helps them again get back to track, because they have been just doing something consistently, because of which it's like a certain pattern, and you need to just break that pattern by doing something different. So either going into silence, or doing a program, or doing something new, or just spending some time on your own, something which if you can do to break the pattern, it can help. So I hope it helps you, and it you can regain your involvement and intensity with your practices. Please see if you can take this step. Okay, there's a question. What is the best food to consume on full moon and Amavasya? So there's no specific food to consume for full moons or Amavasya day. It's always best that you eat something where you are alert. Whatever helps you stay alert, that is good food for you. So if you find that, especially on Pournamis and Amavasyas, if you wish to meditate or sit with your eyes closed for longer periods of time, then what kind of food which you have eaten, it'll have a great impact in terms of, whether you are able to sit alert. So if you eat something very heavy, then the moment you sit with your eyes closed, you will tend to fall asleep. So this is the biggest impediment for a seeker, that when they sit with their eyes closed, lethargy or sleep takes over. So there's a lot of preparation which needs to be done to come to a state where if you just sit with your eyes closed, you don't have to think, you'll just be alert. So it involves a lot of preparation, doing asanas, kriyas, meditation, eating the right kind of foods, adopting the right kind of lifestyle. But at least as an initial step, if you can bring in at least 50% raw food in your diet, it can make a big difference. Two things: one is bringing in 50% raw food in your diet, which you eat before cooked food, and second thing is chewing each morsel sufficiently. In yoga they say you should chew at least 24 times each morsel. So if these two things, if you can do, you will see that when you sit for meditation, it will be much more easier for you. So not just on full moons and amavasyas, but even other days, you will see it will make a big difference. So try these things and see. That will help you to make use of Amavasya or Pournami if you want to sit for meditation for longer periods of time. It'll help if you have eaten something light. If you chew your food thoroughly, you will see that whatever you eat, it won't be like heavy for you. You won't feel like as if you have eaten something heavy and it takes a long time to digest. It'll be much more supportive for you in meditation. Yes, Baleshana, thanks so much for asking. She's doing fine now. So glad you remembered that and you asked. Thank you so much. Yeah, she's been going. We've been taking her for regular checkups, and I guess that's the protocol that every 3-4 months, we need to check whether things are going well with the body, especially when you have cancer. So you need to keep checking if things are in remission. So far it's been going good. Thank you so much for checking. We've been going for checkups regularly and seeing that she takes care. Thank you, Anna. Okay, there's a question about sa- salad causes gas. So you can see, whatever suits your body. Depends on what kind of salad you're eating, because sometimes if you eat sprouts, if it is over sprouted and under sprouted, it may cause gas. So generally, if you eat sprouts, you should sprout it right. And otherwise, if you feel that something is causing gas for you, maybe just try to see if you can figure out what is exactly causing gas in that salad, if it's a mixture of different things. And you can avoid that, or you can even boil that and have it. If raw is not suiting you, it's the next best thing is to at least boil it and have it. For example, if you're finding having sprouts raw, it's difficult for you, you can even boil it and make a sundal out of it. Like generally, if you have eaten in the ashram, you may have seen they use different sprouts to make a sundal, like green gram sprouts, horse gram sprouts, or other lentils. So you can even do that. So if you find that it's difficult like that for you, you can even experiment. Otherwise, okay. You remember you had a sinus surgery under general full body anesthesia. How does anesthesia have any effect on one's consciousness post operation, also for one who follows yogic and is on a spiritual path? Uh, Regarding anesthesia and how does it affects one's consciousness? Well, I'm not really sure about this actually, but I think Sadhguru had a conversation with one of the medical doctors, or a neurologist, I think, something about anesthesia. You can just search on YouTube. If you just search anesthesia Sadhguru talks, I think you may find some videos where he spoke about this. Maybe that would help you, because I'm not, well versed with in terms of what happens on what is the effect of anesthesia on one's consciousness. So you can just check those videos out and see if he's answered this question in one of these videos actually. Okay. If you have any other questions, please type in the chat window. Which practice is better for physical health, Surya Shakti or Angamardana? So any of these practices is fine, whether it is Angamardana or Surya Shakti. Whatever you can learn in your particular city, you can get started with it. If you learn Surya Shakti, then Surya Shakti, this is something where the amount of time which you take to do the practice can vary based on the number of cycles which you do. So it is very similar. If you have learned Surya Namaskar in terms of the steps, it will be very similar, and it's very simple as well. Anyone above 7 years can learn Surya Shakti. So if you want to start with Surya Shakti, it's great. You can do that. Try to see if you can learn the practice properly from a trained teacher. Don't look at practices online and start with that. So if you can do that, it's after that you can start building the number of cycles. See if you can do more number of cycles, but consistently you should try to do it. Then it will be very helpful. And at least 33 cycles if you can do on a daily basis, it will be minimum of 33. If you can build yourself up to doing that for Surya Shakti, it will be very helpful. And if instead of Surya Shakti you want to start with Angamardana, then that also can be done. Surya Shakti, let's say if you do just a few cycles, it may not take much time, but ideally you should do more number of cycles with Surya Shakti, especially if you're doing it fast. It can help if you do more number of cycles and gradually build it up, rather than doing it on one particular day you do more number of cycles and then after that you don't do for a few days. Instead of that, gradually build it up. Maybe just start with let's say 6 cycles, then do it for a few days until it becomes consistent for you, stabilize. When you feel comfortable with 6, then move on to the next number. So when you have learned the practice, they will be giving you a handout which has the sequence of the number of cycles which you can do. So just follow that. Don't do any number of cycles randomly, just follow the sequence. And when you get comfortable with one number, you move on to the next number, the higher number. Then do that consistently for 1 week and then move on to the next number. Like this you go on increasing. With Angamardana, there are many postures which are taught: standing, squatting, sitting, lying down. So totally it may take you around 45 minutes or so to do the whole set of practices in Angamardana. Again, in Angamardana also, if one has less time, you can choose to do, let's say, split it up, like doing standing, squatting separately. Or if it's very difficult for you to get time, then maybe you know every day do one set of sequences, which you can do. But ideally it's best, if you want to get the full benefit of Angamardana, that you do all the sequences from standing till lying down at a stretch. So both these practices you can try to fit it into your schedule, based on how much of amount of time you can spare. So whether it's Angamardana or Surya Shakti, you just pick one, see whatever is possible for you, and you can start doing the practice. Both of them have very similar benefits. They can help you in terms of, especially if you're looking for a physical workout, you're looking for an alternative to gymming, you want to do something indoors, you want to build muscle, you want to build strength, you want to build aerobic strength. So for any of these things, Surya Shakti or Angamardana will be very helpful. And both of these practices can even be learned by children. For Angamardana, anyone above 8 can learn. For Surya Shakti, anyone above 7 can learn. So you see whatever works for you. Both of them, they have very similar benefits. The idea is not the practice, but how much you are able to do on a daily basis, whether you're regular with it or not. If you're regular with it, any of these things can help you. Okay. I'm just looking at the other questions. I'm having, Daniel says, I'm having body stiffness, especially near the neck region upon waking up in the morning. Any suggestions? Well, if you have body stiffness near the neck region, then you should just look at how you're sleeping. Maybe the way you're sleeping is incorrect. So If you're using a very thick pillow, maybe try using a thin pillow. So this is something which you can see how you're sleeping. Also the posture in which you're sleeping. Are you sleeping on your back, or are you sleeping on your tummy, or how's your face when you're sleeping? So just try to look at the way you are sleeping, and also the way you get up. Generally, when you get up, you should always see if you can roll towards the right and then get up. So that is the best way to get up, especially if you're waking up. So first of all, see how you're sleeping, the pillow and the position, and also the mattress, where you're sleeping. So these things also you just try to take care and see if everything is going fine there. Generally, the mattress should not compress too much, So you should also check out that and see. Of course, sleeping close to the floor is going to be very beneficial. If you can try to sleep closer to the floor, maybe use a thin mattress. Like if you have gone for any of the Isha programs in the ashram, like Bhavaspandana or Samyama or Shunya, you may have noticed how, people, they get a thin mattress, they sleep, they keep that mattress in the hall and they sleep close to the floor. So that is very good actually, if you can do that. And apart from that as well, if you're not if it's still happening, then see if you can do some neck practices, those 5 neck practices which are available online on the Sadhguru app as well. Those Upa Yoga practices for the neck region, neck and shoulder region, that will be very helpful for you. So try to do it at least 2 times a day. If nothing else, you can just do the neck practices. They can be done anytime. You can sit in the chair also and do it. So try to do those neck practices, especially if you are sitting in front of the system for long periods of time. It is very important to keep your neck and shoulder muscles in a good condition. So doing those neck practices will help you flex those muscles and keep it in a good shape. So try to see if you can do these things actually. And also the posture in which you're sitting while working in front of your system. Maybe if you're bending down like this a lot, if let's say you're looking at your mobile phone for long periods of hours and your posture is like this, if you're keeping your head down, looking down consistently like this, then that's something you may need to look at. Ideally, it is best that if something is at your eye level. So try to pay attention to these things, like how you're sitting throughout the day, how you're sleeping, and also doing these yoga practices. These things, if you can just try to take care and see if it helps you. Okay. Okay. Can you say something about Vairagya chants? How can someone chant it continuously among work and other things? So Vairagya chants, Anna, if you can chant it, it's great. If you can chant it while you're working, it's great. Otherwise, you can just listen to it. Let's say even if you are working, you're doing your office work, you can keep these Vairagya chants in the background. So what Sadhguru was mentioning is if you can choose one chant out of these Vairagya chants, there are about 5 or 6 chants which are available. They are also there on the Sadhguru app, I suppose. So if you see whichever is drawing you, which chant you feel more drawn towards, and that is your chant. So just choose that chant and try to play it as much as possible, throughout the day. Maybe keep it like a background, except when you're doing your practices. Rest of the time, you can just keep it on, whether you're eating, whether you're doing your work, whatever you're doing, you can just keep these chants on. So just try to keep it like a background, and whenever you feel that you want to chant it as well along with it, then you can even chant. Otherwise, just keep it in the background, because when you feel in sync with a particular chant, and if that keeps on playing in the background for you also, slowly you can connect with it. It's like as if the frequency of your system and the frequency of the chant, it's like matching, and there is something which is happening. You generally feel that, especially if you get connected with a chant. So try to see how you can keep this on throughout. Even if you are not able to chant, you can just keep it on in the background and listen to it. Even listening can make a big difference. In fact, actually, he mentioned for the Vairagya chants to just listen, and because chanting it requires you to do the training and learn the right pronunciations. Otherwise, chanting something incorrectly can even bring harm. If one doesn't know how to chant, let's say Nirvana Shatakam properly, and they still attempt to chant it, it may not be very conducive for a person, especially because any of these chants, it's the if you utter a sound in the right way, it makes a difference in your system. It affects the system's chemistry. But if you don't utter it right, if you utter it in some other way, it can make other changes as well. So generally for chants, we suggest if you want to chant, it is best to get trained. For example, Samskriti, Isha Samskriti alumni, they are training people to chant these mantras, in a proper way. For example, if you wish to learn Nirvana Shatakam chant, you can even look at learning from them. They will train you properly how to chant. Otherwise, just listen to the chant, keep it on wherever you're going. Just try to keep it on, and just see how you can resonate with it. Okay. Okay. Just looking at the next question. I had fracture of left hand and underwent small surgery. When I asked one volunteer, she said to close eyes and visualize preparatory asanas. So I did not stop Shambhavi Mahamudra. Instead of 3 months, I recovered in 1.5 months. Oh, that's amazing. That's really great to hear this. So, yes, in case if you find that it is difficult for you to do any particular posture because of some injury or accident which you have kind of faced, it's always best that you continue the practice by visualizing. So, thanks for sharing this, because these asanas, if you visualize it in a powerful way, if your visualization has become strong enough, then whatever changes are happening in the system when you do the actual practice, you can also make those changes happen by visualizing it strongly. So visualization is a very important part of Hatha Yoga. When we teach Hatha Yoga, we generally include visualization so that people can learn how to use their mind in a much more powerful way. So thanks for sharing this. So hope you also continue the practices. As soon as you feel you are able to do the practices now physically, please see if you can switch to that. So that should not be, let's say if you're busy today, this is not an option that today I'm very busy and I don't feel like doing the practice, so let me visualize it. It's only if you have a condition like this where you're not able to do it physically, then you can visualize. But apart from that, it's always best if you do the practice to get benefits, and include visualization as a support or as an additional tool to intensify your practice. For example, when we do Surya Kriya, we generally tend to visualize before starting it so that it becomes more powerful when we do the practice, actual practice. Okay. So there's a question. I just received the copper snake ring. Should I remove it every time I wash my hands with soap? No, it's not necessary. Once you have the snake ring, I think you can just keep it on. There's no need to remove it for any purpose actually. I hardly remember the time when I removed my snake ring actually. So you can keep it on. It can come in contact with warm water or whatever it is. Even if you're using soap or something, it's fine. You can just keep the snake ring on. There's no issue. How do you clean it? Well, it doesn't require much cleaning actually. If Generally what I tend to do is I just once in a while or maybe on a regular basis, if you can rub it with vibhuti or sacred ash, you'll notice that it'll shine actually. So you can try to do that. Otherwise, when you have a bath, you'll anyway be this also will get cleaned. And once in a while, if you can regularly rub vibhuti, you'll see it'll shine actually. It should be it should be shining always. If it's turning black, that means you're not taking care of it. So just see how you can take care of it. Okay, whenever I do fasting, headache started. Please help me. Okay. So fasting, if you're fasting and you're getting headache, then there are many things which you may need to take care of. So please try to go through the Agni series videos or those lives on Ekadashi, where we have spoken more about this in detail, because it's possible that you may be having a lot of stimulants, so your body has gotten used to that, and the moment you withdraw, For example, if you have been used to having tea and coffee very regularly, now the moment you try to fast and stay away from tea or coffee, you'll see that it will be very difficult for you to sustain. So it's always best that you prepare the system properly before fasting. So see if you can adapt an healthy yogic diet. You can adopt an healthy yogic diet by following those guidelines. Like go through the Agni series videos, see if you can include sufficient raw food in your diet, cut out the negative pranic foods and negative and stimulants in your diet. If these things you do, you'll see in a few months time your system will be in a much more better position, and fasting will be effortless for you. If fasting need not be a torture. If fasting is a torture for you, that means you're not doing it right. It should happen effortlessly for you, that you're able to stay for 24 hours without food and water. At least food, water is okay. Water you can have even when you're fasting. But at least for 24 hours you should be able to go without food. If you're not able to go without food for 24 hours, then it's an indication that something is wrong with your system. It could be a chronic ailment, it could be something right now which you're facing. Maybe you have diabetes or you have some other ailment because of which you find it difficult. So if you have a chronic ailment, then anyway doing your practices etc will help you. But apart from that, if you take care of your food in a big way, it can help actually. So see if you can include positive pranic food in your diet, and start gradually. If you want, if you're not able to do fasting on completely abstaining for 24 hours from food, what you can do is at least try to go on a fruit diet. For the first few attempts, try to have fruits instead of having a meal. Like for example, when you have lunch, instead of lunch you can try to have some fruits instead. So try to do that, see how your body is responding. And if you see that that is better, at least you are able to sustain for 24 hours with just a fruit diet. Then slowly see how you can reduce it. Maybe reduce the intake, and gradually over a few months you will see your body will be fine. So instead of trying to do it suddenly, do it in stages. Try to first go with a fruit diet, then see if you can replace it with just juice, or just maybe honey water. If your system is doing well with that, then see if you can just replace it with plain water. So like this, try to do it slowly instead of abruptly jumping into fasting. You, and also apart from that, continue your sadhana, like yogic practices which you have learned. It will definitely help you and assist you in fasting much more effortlessly actually. If you're able to fast for 24 hours without breaking sweat, if you feel that your body was able to take it up very easily, you're able to do all your work whatever you're doing for 24 hours without feeling tired or feeling like as if you're going to fall. If all of this is happening, that means your system is in a good shape. You're able to go without food for 24 hours, you're in a very good shape actually. If not, you have to work towards it actually. And now, how to contact someone from ashram regarding Kala Bhairava Karma. So, Kala Bhairava Karma is done in the Linga Bhairavi temple in the ashram for people who have departed. It is a ritual which is done to assist in their future in terms of how the transition happens. So, I think Sadhguru has spoken about this, that how the moment of death, the way the transition happens from life to death, and from in terms of birth and death, these two phases of life, how a life enters a body and how a life exits the body, these two are very important. So conducting that in a graceful way, conducting that properly is very important. So Kal Bhairava Karma is one of the best things which you can do for your loved ones. For whatever reason, if they have if they have passed away, you can see at least how you can assist them, their journey, their onward journey, by doing the right processes after their death. So I think generally Kal Bhairava Karma is done based on that, the way people have died. You may have to do it within 14 days of their death or within 48 days. So I think during COVID time they had started it online as well, where you could send a few things to the ashram and they would do it on your behalf. Before that, it was only offline. People had to visit the ashram, the Linga Bhairavi temple, book for the ritual and do it. So please contact the Linga Bhairavi temple. So you can contact the ashram helpline, that general helpline which is there, 8300083111. and check with them about this Kala Bhairava Karma ritual, how to book it online, or is it possible to do it online, or you have to come there. Based on that, you can plan, and you can do it. But it is, I think it must also be given on the website, about the Linga Bhairavi website. So just try to check it out on their contact page if there's a contact number mentioned, or otherwise call the general helpline and find out. Okay, just a minute. I would like to attend residential retreat in Bangalore as I'm a little slow on technology. Can it be notified when it happens? Yes, Akka, it's possible to notify you. What you can do is, I'm not sure if you're part of our broadcast group. If you, which the broadcast group which we have on WhatsApp and Telegram, if you can join one of those broadcast groups, we will be posting about all our programs and also daily yogic updates, Ekadashi reminders, etc. on the broadcast group. So please see if you can join that. If you go to our website yogire.com, you will find the link to join our broadcast group, and you can either join it on WhatsApp or Telegram. So otherwise, the short link is yogire.com/WhatsApp or yogire.com/Telegram. You just type this on your browser and you will be able to join the group. So that is one way. Other way is, what you can do is, if you're not very regular in checking the group, etc., then you can fill up the form, inquiry form, on our website. So if you go to our website, you will find an inquiry form, and just select that Srishti residential retreat for adults or for families. Just select that and fill in your details, so that whenever we plan that program, we'll notify you. Apart from that, you can also send us a message on our inquiry number, and you just drop a note that whenever a program like this happens, to let you know, so that we'll get back to you. We'll share the inquiry number. Inquiry number is also there on our website. Just go to our website yogire.com. You'll find the inquiry number also mentioned on the website. So you can send us a WhatsApp message and we'll let you know once the program is scheduled. Okay, due to some ailments, I had to stop Surya Kriya. Now I want to restart it, but I'm not able to recollect all the steps correctly. So should I have to do it again? Yes, Anna. If it's been a long time since you have stopped Surya Kriya, more than 6 months, then I would definitely suggest that you go for a refresher session. If not doing the program again, at least get in touch with a teacher nearest to you. There are teachers across the world, so find a teacher who is nearest to you wherever you stay. Find a Isha Yoga teacher nearest to you and check with them if they are able to organize a review session. So if you have completely forgotten, then you may need to go through the session once more. Otherwise, if you just remember a few, most of the stuff, but you just want to clarify, then a refresher session will help you. It will be for about 2 to 3 hours, where all the steps of the practice you will be able to recollect, go through it, and then you can restart the practice. But it is best that before you restart, get in touch with a teacher nearest you and see, based on how much you remember, to take a call what is best for you. Okay. Apart from that, even if you're practicing regularly all these Hatha Yoga practices, it's good if every 6 months you can go for a refresher session or a correction session, because even if you're doing the practices, there may be many minute things which may have crept into your practice which you need to correct. So going for a refresher session will help you notice these things. The teacher can help you fine tune the practice and get more benefits out of doing this. I'm practicing Angamardana from last 10 months and have lost weight. Practice has made me flexible, but now my family is worried that I'm losing too much weight. Is this normal? Well, for a lot of people, after starting Hatha Yoga, they lose weight rapidly, actually. So, so if you think that you're becoming underweight, if you're losing too much weight, if you're losing too much weight and still your weight is normal for whatever height you are, it's normal, then it's fine. Then there's nothing to be worried about. But if you feel that now you are underweight, you have lost too much weight and you're underweight, then this is something you can just look at it and see. Maybe first of all, just check if medically there is no condition, because sometimes if your metabolism is not normal, let's say if you have a thyroid issue or something, then what happens is, you may tend to lose weight, or you may tend to gain weight based on the type of thyroid issue which you have, or hormonal imbalance which you have. So first of all, rule out if it's a medical problem. If there's no medical problem, then then again, just see how you can take care of your food. So taking care of your food in the sense, trying to eat foods which are healthy. See if you can add a little more groundnuts in your diet. It can help put on some weight. You can also add some ghee in your diet. Ghee can also help with that. Apart from that, Sadhguru mentioned that if you add honey to cold water, then it can also help to put on weight. So you can even try these things, but it's best that if you don't give up the practice, because you're getting so much benefits from the practice. It may be just a temporary phase where your body is just getting used to it, because for a lot of people, the metabolism is altered once you start doing some practice, some yogic practice, whether it is Shambhavi or Hatha Yoga. You'll see that either if based on how your system is, you may see there is some change in the way your metabolism is happening. So for some people it leads to weight loss rapidly. For some people it's the same weight. For some people it may lead to weight gain. Whatever is needed for your system may be happening. So try to see if you're eating sufficiently. If you're over 35 years of age, then 2 meals a day is good. If you're less than 35, you can even have 3 meals a day. Have sufficient, food and gap between 2 meals. At least see if you're having 3 meals to have at least 5 hours gap between 2 meals. So try to see if you can take care of your food, and also whatever food you're eating, try to see if you're including a lot of healthy stuff in it. For example, horse gram, drumstick, eating sprouts, groundnuts, honey, ghee. So all these things you can try to include in your diet. You'll see it'll be very helpful. But don't worry so much about it. Maybe it's more of the way you're looking, and it's you may not used to losing weight so rapidly. So just give it some time. Let the practice stabilize. I think after a few months, generally what happens is, but you're saying it's last 10 months, right? So it's been quite a long time already. If it is stabilized by now, it's fine. But if it is going on reducing, then you may just have to look into it and see. Just pay attention to it and just see what is actually happening. Is it something which you need to take care of? Most probably, if it's not a medical issue, then it's about your food. So just try to look into it. Okay. Okay. Any practice for person having face paralysis? Mm, not any specific practice, Anna. I don't recall any specific practice for face paralysis. What I would suggest is, if you're having specific ailments like this, if they are not into any yoga, then definitely let them start with some upa yoga at least. For example, the neck practices, they can see if it is possible for them to do it. But if that is not possible for them right now, their condition is such that they're not even able to do that, the neck practices, then it is best that I would suggest you visit the Isha Center, the Rejuvenation Center, and get a medical advice from them. I think they're also doing it online nowadays. If you just search on online for Isha Health Life Solutions, so they have something where they can diagnose your condition online. So they may just suggest that if there's a combination of practice and medicine which is needed, because sometimes a few conditions, it may require medical intervention as well. So they have a team of doctors like siddha doctors, allopathic doctors, and even your yoga teachers. They will be looking at your condition in a holistic manner, and they would suggest that what kind of treatment is better for you, whether it is a combination of yoga, diet, Siddha medicines, or Ayurveda medicines, etc. So for specific problems like this, I would suggest, if the regular practices are not, if they're not able to do, then try to get a consultation from them and see what they suggest. They may be, it may take some time for them to first they may need some medicine to get to a particular state within themselves, where at least physically they are able to do all the movements properly, and then maybe yoga can help. So just try to have a consultation, Anna, and see based on the severity of the problem which you are mentioning. They may need to specify different things. Can you please explain about Pancha Bhuta Shuddhi? Pancha Bhuta Shuddhi. So there's something practice called as Bhuta Shuddhi, so which is taught by Hatha Yoga teachers, different Hatha Yoga teachers across the world. You will find them teaching Bhuta Shuddhi process. So Bhuta Shuddhi is a way of cleansing the five elements. So I hope you're referring to that same process. So that is a practice to cleanse the five elements within. So as you know, we are made of five elements. So each of these five elements, whether it is earth, fire, air, water, space. So each of these five elements, if we need to, if we just take care of these five elements, if these elements are cleansed, initially first you need to cleanse these elements, and then it leads to and do this panchabhuta, this bhuta shuddhi ritual, which is meant for cleansing these five elements. And as you practice, you will see that this also leads to mastery over these five elements. So earlier this process was not available to do on a daily basis. So when Sadhguru introduced this practice, he said that by doing this Bhuta Shuddhi ritual on a daily basis, you can take care of cleansing these five elements on a daily basis. It's like the fundamental form of yoga. Any form of yoga which you do, let's say you do an asana, it's also trying to cleanse the five elements in a certain way. So this is like a direct way of cleansing the five elements. If you can learn Bhuta Shuddhi from any Hatha Yoga teacher, you can do it. It just takes about 5 to 6 minutes on a daily basis to do the practice on your own. And they will give you a kit which has a copper pot, camphor, earth balls. So all these things you will use, external elements you will use to cleanse the five elements within. If you're not able to do this process on a daily basis, you just want to do it once in a way, then they have this process called as Panchabhuta Radhana happening. I think Panchabhuta Kriya or Panchabhuta Radhana happening in the Dhyanlinga temple every month. So there, you just go through that process. I think it's also online. It's possible to do it online, and you'll see that it helps you in cleansing these five elements. It's a form of Bhuta Shuddhi. But just that, what happens is if you do these things right, the effect may last only for a few days. You may notice that after a few days, if you do, you may feel like again you're back to normal. But if you do the Panchabhuta, if you do the Bhuta Shuddhi program and do the practice every day, you will see the benefits will be consistent. So if it's a once, if you just want to do it once in a while, then you can go for the Panchabhuta Kriya process, which happens online. Otherwise, it's best you invest and learn this practice so that you can practice it on a daily basis and experience that cleansing on a daily basis. Okay. Okay. Does Brahmananda Swarupa chant require training? Well, Brahmananda Swarupa chant doesn't require training actually. You can just listen to it and you can chant. It's very simple. So you can do that actually. Listening to the chant while working, won't it affect the concentration at work? Well, I don't think so actually. It just goes on in the background. See, even right now, if you're just sitting, you'll notice that there are so many sounds happening in the background. Especially if you're staying in a city, you'll notice there are so many sounds which are happening. So, just having the chant running in the background at low volume, it should be fine. You're not listening to it at high volume. Just keep it on in the background and continue doing your work. It'll be fine. And especially Brahmanand Swarupa, if you can try to chant whenever you feel your mind is going off, just trying to chant that Brahmanand Swarupa, it can help bring you back. So that's something you can do. It shouldn't affect your work, concentration. Okay. How to be regular in practice? So for that, you have to initially just set up, something that you have to do it. For example, a mandala or something. Because generally, for most people, they won't be able to push themselves until they have a commitment. That okay, if for 40 days, whatever happens, I will do the practice. So that's why whenever we teach a new practice, we encourage all the participants to do it for at least a mandala, where we tell them that for 40 days, twice a day you do the practice, and then for 6 months, at least once a day you do the practice. So that what happens is it establishes the practices for them. Once the practices are established, then after that they don't need to think whether they should do it or should not do it. But initially that first 6 months is a very tentative period for most people. If they don't do something regularly, if they don't keep a commitment, it will be very easy for them to slip. Something happens in office or something happens at work where they get busy and they'll drop the practice. So to avoid that, it's very important that in the first 6 months you keep a certain commitment. With that commitment, what happens is, you will know, even if you tend to fall, you will remember that no, I have to do this. Somehow I have to make it happen. At least for today, I have to finish the practice. So that is needed for the first 6 months. Once that is done, you should be fine, with your practice. Please share something about Linga Bhairavi Gudi. So Linga Bhairavi Gudi is a consecrated form to experience Devi's grace. So if you find yourself connecting with Linga Bhairavi Devi a lot, if you find that, with whatever videos you have watched, or maybe if you visited the center, you felt her energy in a certain way, or if you have read something and you felt a little connected with Linga Bhairavi Devi, then it's good if you can bring her home. You can get the Linga Bhairavi Devi at home, the Gudi. It's a very small miniature Linga Bhairavi temple, if I have to put it very concisely. It's like having a small Linga Bhairavi temple at home. So you just place it in your puja room or in your own bedroom also. If you want to place it, you can place it. There's hardly any maintenance which is required for it. You just need to light a lamp daily, and if you want to offer flowers or something, you can do that. So that's about it for Linga Bhairavi Devi. If you connect with her, then it's if you can bring her, you will see that it will strengthen your connection with her. You can chant Devi Stuti in front of her. You will see that you can connect with her grace much more easily if you have that consecrated form. And especially at home, if you bring something like this, it can help energize your home as well. So you see, if you feel that there is a certain connection. For me, when I actually happened to attend the Linga Bhairavi consecration 13 years back when it happened. So that was my first, introduction. That was my introduction to Devi. So the moment I attended the consecration, it happened so powerfully for me that I got connected with her in a certain way. So since then, I have been connected with her. Whenever I go to that Isha Yoga Center, I visit, spend some time in the Linga Bhairavi temple. And I was the first, when Linga Bhairavi Gudi came to Bangalore. I think that was immediately after the consecration. I think after some time they started giving out these Linga Bhairavi Gudis, and I was one of the first to get it to my home. I just thought I should bring her home, and since then I have this at home. So if you feel connected with her and if you want to bring her home, then it's great. You can do that. It will be very supportive for you in trying to connect with her and establish your sadhana. And so if you want to bring a certain quality of devotion, then these things, these tools like Linga Bhairavi Gudi or the Linga Bhairavi Yantra, which is a little more elaborate in terms of its what you need to do on a daily basis. So if any of these things you can bring, it will be very helpful for you to connect with her and to consecrate your home. But it is very good that if you stay in a consecrated place, just staying in a consecrated place, the reason why many people visit temples and ashrams, etc., is because they feel a certain energy in that space, isn't it? Whenever you visit a temple or an ashram, you feel a certain difference when you just go there, because there's a certain reverberation, there's a certain energy which you feel is different. So this is exactly what is meant by consecration, is to energize a certain space. So if you bring a certain thing like Linga Bhairavi Gudi or Linga Bhairavi Yantra or Sadguru Sannidhi, any of these things, if you bring to your home, it'll help to change the reverberation in your home, the energy of the space, which is very conducive for you to live. If you want to stay in a space, it's always best if you stay in an energized space, isn't it? If you have children at home, if you have parents at home, for all of them, it's best if they stay in a consecrated space, because you will see it will help in your growth much more faster. Your growth will happen much better in a consecrated space. So if you can consecrate your home, it will be very beneficial. Okay, are you planning to do any online programs from Hungary? Okay, namaskaram, thank you so much for asking. Yes, we would like to continue with online programs. So we generally have three programs which are online. One of them is the food program which we do, called as Ahar. Another one is a program called as Dvijas, which we do for 21 days, which happens at Brahma Muhurtam time in India. And the other one is Srishti program, which is basically right now we are offering this for children, where we introduce them to yoga, about yogic diet, about nature online. So we will see if we can plan them soon, so that you can take part from Hungary as well. We'll surely see. If you're part of our broadcast group, please see if you can follow that. For whenever we do our programs, we'll be updating them, or on our social media channels. You can see if you can follow us on that. We'll let you know if we are doing these online programs. Just that we don't do these very frequently. We generally do it once in 3 4 months or even longer. So whenever you hear about those programs, if it is possible for you to try to keep those days aside, it will be very helpful, because it may take a long period of time for us to do those programs again actually. Okay. Any practices you can suggest for ADHD kids? If your kids are having ADHD, then Topu Karnam or brain yoga can be very helpful actually. So I think you may have come across that, right? When in school, for punishment, they made us do this, holding the ears and sitting, doing sit-ups. So that is what is called as Topu Karnam or brain yoga. So I didn't know that this is actually good. That punishment was good for our development, because it seems if you just do that practice, the way your brain can develop, the way your intelligence can be enhanced, it can be greatly enhanced by doing that practice actually. So Topu Karnam or brain yoga, or this these particular sit-ups, it will be very good for the kids. Please see if they can do that on a daily basis. They can start by doing it for a minute and increase the duration. I think Sanskrit kids were doing it for 108 times, daily basis. So that will be very helpful, especially for ADHD. It can be very beneficial if you can do that. Apart from that, once they cross 7 years, they can also learn arm chanting, which will be very helpful. Arm chanting and Nadi Shuddhi Pranayam, these practices will be very helpful to stabilize their mind, and to improve their focus and concentration. So all these practices you can learn from any Hatha Yoga teacher nearby to you. So if you get in touch with them, they can help you learn these practices, whether it is Topu Karnam or arm chanting or Nadi Shuddhi. You can check with them. Okay, there are some mm, technical questions like, should I do Shushante and Udiana Banda after Shambhavi or before? So Anna, if I would suggest that these kind of questions, you can please ping us on our inquiry number. We can help you, because here not many people have done. Not everyone might have done these practices, so they may not relate to it. So with the order of practices, etc., if you let us know on our inquiry number, just go to our website. You'll find our inquiry number, WhatsApp. Share us a message over there, and we can help you. Okay. Anna, there's a question about Bageshwar Dham priest. I'm not sure, Anna, actually. I don't have I don't have any information, and I'm not very sure about this. Who has become famous for predicting people's past, present, and future to openly use one's siddhis. Not sure actually, because generally I have heard Sadhguru mentioning that a lot of people, if they just get a certain if they're just doing sadhana, they just want to kind of make use of it immediately. They just want to see if they can what siddhis they develop, or what miracles they can make happen. That is something, their way of testing whether they're doing sadhana, whether it is working for them or not. But in Isha especially, Sadhguru doesn't encourage that, because generally most people, if they just get access to any of these things, they might just tend to go off, because they start acting like as if they know it all, and they start playing God, which is not good for a person who's on the spiritual path, because the ultimate is just to see how you can realize and not getting stuck with these little things on the way. So generally, making use of these siddhis or doing sadhana to gain siddhis etc. is generally not encouraged in Isha. So you will see even people who are practicing for more than 10-15 years also, still you won't find them doing anything unusual like making things disappear or appear, or predicting people's past, present, future etc. They generally don't encourage that. So this, just this whole thing of trying to find out what happened in the past, trying to find out what will happen in the future, this itself is coming from a certain inadequacy right now. Because right now the way you are, maybe something that you're not comfortable with, and you want to find out, okay, what led to this, why am I like this, maybe it was because of my past. What happened exactly in the past that it led me to become like this? Or you think that you're so worried right now thinking about what will happen to my future, do I really need to take this step or not? So you want to avoid making that decision on your own and try to look into the future and see that what is there for you. So if such a thing is happening, then somewhere we are out of sync, because we are just trying to run away from what is there in the present and trying to go into the past or the future to see if there's a cause for this, or there is an outlet for this. So that's something which should change, because if right now in this moment, if you feel that you are happy, if you feel that this is the best thing which is happening to you right now is happening now, then you'll see the need to go into past, or what is going to happen in the future. It just disappears, because you really don't care, because whatever has happened in the past is past. It doesn't matter whatever has happened. Right now you are a product of whatever has happened, and you don't care what has happened, and in the future you're not worried, because it doesn't matter for you. Whatever comes in the future, you feel like I'll just go through that. If you are able to handle this moment, then it's fine. So just look into that and see, if generally, if you'll see that people who are a little unstable right now, they'll tend to shift towards these things. They want something quickly. Tell me my problem, tell me the exact problem which has happened in the past, or what will happen to me in future. So just trying to shortcut things and trying to see what will happen. So instead of that, if we work at it step by step, try to take charge of our own selves, then you'll see these things will disappear, and these priests etc who may be trying to predict, they'll become very unimportant for you right now, because you simply don't care whatever has happened in the past or whatever is going to happen in the future. You try to take walk your own stride. So you can see, Anna, I don't have any other inputs about it. Okay. Why I don't feel hungry, nor do I feel low in energy. I do Shambhavi regularly. Okay. Not sure actually why you don't feel hungry. Hmm. Generally, hunger, it's a complex thing actually. It's not just about food. It could be many things, See, especially if you notice this, the kind of food which you eat, how much you eat, it also depends on one's emotions. Let's say you're very stressed right now. The first thing you'll want to do is, to eat something junk, something which is tasty, because at least it's like a stress buster, You'll see that you'll immediately tend to do that. So people who get, are very anxious, who get stressed, they'll lose control over their food actually, because it just leads them to that. Also you'll notice this, that if you are going through certain, if you have certain issues which you are going through, maybe emotionally or down etc, then again you don't feel the kind of sometimes you may feel a little disconnected, and you may not feel hunger, or you may not feel eating much. Let's say if you are very sad right now, again you will feel like you don't feel like eating much. You just want to just survive and just eat whatever is necessary, a little bit whatever here and there, and you don't feel that hunger. So it could be many of these things. So if you're doing your practices, just also see that are things going well in your life right now. Do you feel that right now you're leading the best life possible? Are you satisfied with whatever is happening right now? Are you in a good shape of are you in a good shape in terms of physically, mentally, emotionally? Do you feel that you're leading the best life possible? If all these things are happening, then you'll see, then the way you're eating, the way you're sleeping, all these things will happen normally. Otherwise, if any of these things are not happening well, then it can affect many things. It can affect your diet, it can affect your appetite, it can affect your sleep, it can affect your work. So just spend some more time and just look in this and see. Also, your involvement with the practices. Maybe you're not very involved with the practices. Again, it could be because of these combination of factors actually. So if something like this is happening, and if you don't have any medical ailments, if you have medical ailments, that could be one reason. Maybe if you, let's say, if you have B12 deficiency, you generally feel lethargic, you feel low, you don't have that much energy and stamina. Or if you have iron deficiency, again you may feel that. Or if you have vitamin D deficiency also, you can feel that. So first of all, we can rule out any medical issues, because generally if you have any you know imbalance in vitamins, minerals, or any of these things, any medical issues in your system, then there could be a certain lack of energy, loss of appetite, other things. But if that is not the case, then it could also be about how you're feeling within yourself. There could be certain things which have been there in the mind from a long time, but you're not able to resolve it. So just speaking to someone, trying to share what is concerning you, maybe someone whom you can confide with, it can actually help to see what's actually blocking within you actually. Okay. Dhyanlinga will not be there in Bangalore. Yes, Dhyanlinga is not going to be there in Bangalore. So Dhyanlinga will be only one in Coimbatore. So experience will be different than Coimbatore. Yes, of course, the Dhyanlinga experience, it cannot be replicated anywhere. But Sadhguru also mentioned that Dhyanlinga is something which is, which can be experienced from anywhere. Even if you're not in Coimbatore, you can actually experience the Dhyanlinga if you're open in a certain way. So it is something which is not bound by time and space. So he was mentioning that you can experience Dhyan Linga in wherever you are if you are open to it. So having said that, will the experience be different in Bangalore ashram? The Yes, of course there would be. There's Devi temple which is being planned. There is Adi Yogi. So they will. The whole idea of setting up an ashram is to create a powerful energy center. So it'll be definitely, the moment you step inside an ashram, you will feel a certain difference. Whether it has Dhyan Linga or it doesn't have Dhyan Linga, it will definitely make a difference if you come and spend some time, irrespective of that. So he's not planning to set up Dhyan Linga anywhere else, but that doesn't mean that your experience will be any lesser in any of these places which he's going to set up. I'm sure if Sadhguru sets up something, he would set it up in certain way that it enhances people's lives. If they just come and spend some time over there, it will make a difference. Dhyanlinga is built for a different purpose, so that has a certain limitation in terms of whether it can be replicated or not. But in terms of experience, you should still feel a shift within you if you happen to visit any energy center. So that should not be a concern actually. Please tell me, when is the next silence program? For this prerequisite is to complete Samyama. I don't know which silence program you're talking about, because if you want to just take up silence, if you have done inner engineering, you can just go to the Isha Yoga Center and take up to 3 days silence. If you have done Samyama, then you can take complete silence for 3 days, or they might even increase the number of days in which you can take up silence. So generally, every 3 months, people who have done inner engineering, they're allowed to come to the ashram and take up to 3 days silence once in 3 months. So if you inquire with the Isha Yoga Center, just call their inquiry helpline and check with them. Then they can guide you better about this in terms of what prerequisites needed. For just taking up silence, just doing the engineering program could be good enough. But if you want to do the Samyama program, which is called as the silence program in Isha, then for that you need to complete most of the programs in Isha, like inner engineering, Bhavaspandana, Shunya, Yogasanas. That would be needed to do the silence program with Sadhguru. Okay. Can doing Surya Kriya increase vitamin D in one's body? Um, well, doing Surya Kriya can help in balancing the system, but if you have a deficiency in vitamin, then especially vitamin D, then you may need to see how to supplement it. For example, generally vitamin D is synthesized, if you are in if you get exposure to the sun. So since most of the time we are spending indoors, we hardly get any sun exposure, which is the reason for a lot of people having vitamin D deficiency. So for especially for vitamin D, you need to spend some time outdoors, especially early morning before the sun's rays become very harsh. You need to spend some time every day on a daily basis soaking in the sun rays. That can help synthesize vitamin D. That is the best way to correct your vitamin D deficiency. Even in spite of that, if it's happening, then you may need to consult a physician and take some supplements if it's needed. Especially vitamin D, vitamin B12, these are like very important. They play a very important role in one's body. So if you are deficient and if you're not taking steps to correct it, it can affect your energy levels in a big way actually. So please see how you can correct that actually. Yes, apart from doing the practices will definitely help you, but it may not be a substitute for you to for vitamin D. Just because you just by doing Surya Kriya, you may not be able to correct your vitamin D deficiency, because it depends on the food, it depends on the exposure, the atmosphere, all these things. Also, it makes a big difference. So please see how you can correct that actually. Sadhguru wants to build 4 Adi Yogis or 4 Isha Yoga Centers in 4 corners of India. Where will be the next one? I'm not sure, and actually, I don't have exact information. I heard they are building one in Delhi and Assam, Goa, Mumbai. Also, I heard. So I'm not very sure. It's not been formally announced, but I think in the Samyama Satsang or I think somewhere sometime in the Samyama Satsang, which happened in December, I think he mentioned about it. So I don't have the exact information on where he's going to build it exactly. I just heard these names: Goa, Delhi, and Assam, and I think even Maharashtra. They were saying. While consuming neem and turmeric, how much water should we drink along with it? Well, just if you're taking neem and turmeric along with some lukewarm water, which is laced with honey, just maybe quarter glass of it, it should be fine. Just to take it in, that should be fine actually. Maybe quarter glass or half a glass of it, it should be just to take it in, just like how you've. But actually, it's better if you chew it. If you keep it in the mouth region for some time and then take it in, it is better actually. Ideally, you should just chew the neem leaves. Sadhguru mentioned that if you can take the neem leaves and if you can keep it in the mouth region for 2-3 hours when you're doing Hatha Yoga, it will be best way to kind of make use of it actually. So that is an advanced way. If you're not able to do that, at least just take the neem turmeric balls or the pills which you're taking along with some lukewarm water. A little bit of water, it should be fine. Surya Shakti and Surya Kriya, I think I just spoke about it, about Surya Shakti. So Surya Kriya is the original practice from which Surya Shakti was derived, and Surya Namaskar was also derived. So basically, how uh, how it works is Surya Kriya was the original practice, which is basically a very elaborate and complex practice. So when they wanted to teach it to public, to large masses of people, they kind of made they kind of diluted it a bit so that it can be easily taught en mass, and that's how Surya Namaskar became very popular. So at Isha, they are teaching Surya Shakti and Surya Kriya right now. They're not teaching Surya Namaskar. So Sadhguru mentioned that if you just practice Surya Kriya and Surya Shakti, it should be more than enough. Surya Namaskar is not needed. So if one is looking for just physical fitness and strength, you can just do Surya Shakti. It will take care of your physical fitness, strength, helps in building up your body in a certain way. you can exercise. Instead of going to the gym, you can do Surya Shaktis every day, and you can keep your body fit. But if you're looking for a more spiritual practice, strong spiritual practice, where it is more like a kriya, then Surya Kriya will be very helpful for you, because apart from these physical benefits which I mentioned, which you can get while doing Surya Shakti, you also get a very deep spiritual connect with Surya Kriya. So Surya Kriya is especially recommended if you want a powerful spiritual practice. So if you're ready for that, then you can even learn Surya Kriya. This is taught by Hatha Yoga teachers. It will take you around 6 to 8 hours to learn this practice, and you need to practice this on a daily basis. So you see, there are a lot of people. Most people learn Surya Kriya and Surya Shakti both, and they practice it together. They do around 1 to 3 cycles of Surya Kriya, and then more number of Surya Shaktis based on the time they have. But if you find that you don't have much time, you just want to pick up one practice, then just choose based on what is your inclination right now. If you're just looking for physical fitness now, right now, spirituality, etc., is not a big concern for you, you're just looking how to stay fit, start with Surya Shakti. Or if right now you want to take care of your physical fitness, but you also want to see how you can move ahead in the spiritual, in terms of your spiritual growth, if you want a more powerful spiritual practice, then Sadhguru says you can start with Surya Kriya itself, where you need to invest a lot more time. And it's a sophisticated practice. It looks the same for a person who is looking at from outside. It feels like everybody is doing the same thing, whether it is Surya Kriya or Surya Namaskar or Surya Shakti. But technically, there are a lot of differences in terms of breathing, in terms of how the postures are, what effect it does to your system, etc. It is very different. So you can see whatever works for you, and you can learn. Okay. So I think we'll just take one or two last questions before we close. What is the significance of doing Shanmukhi Mudra? Shanmukhi Mudra is a different practice actually. Shanmukhi Mudra, it's basically, it's like, enhancing one's perception. So basic to enhance one's perception, it's a certain practice which is taught. So Shanmukhi Mudra is like an add-on practice if you're already doing some Hatha Yoga practices, or even if you're not doing any Hatha Yoga practice, if you just want to learn Shanmukhi Mudra as a standalone practice, you can learn that. It improves the aura in the face, especially people concerned with one's beauty can do it. It can enhance the glow and aura in your face. Actors can do it. It can also help if you have any ailments related to eyes, ears, nose, and throat, etc. Because it can help for this region actually. So Shanmukhi Mudra, there's a separate video which I have recorded on Shanmukhi Mudra, the benefits, the eligibility, how much time it takes, etc. So if you just look at Save Soil Sadhana videos, right? In that, there's a video on Shanmukhi Mudra. You can have a look at it for more details about Shanmukhi Mudra. So there I've explained much more in detail about Shanmukhi Mudra. Okay. So any important things to remember, as it's my first time for Mahashivaratri at Isha Yoga Center? No, nothing much to remember. Just follow the instructions if they have sent you something online. You just see if you can do your practices, do your Mahashivaratri sadhana if you're participating. Try to go in the best possible way over there, and get enough rest on the previous night so that you are refreshed. And try to eat a little light on Mahashivaratri. That will help you stay awake throughout the night. If you eat something very heavy, then you'll find it is difficult to stay alert. And also see if you can, if especially if you're trying to, if you feel that staying awake is difficult in the night, try to walk around instead of just sitting in one place. If it's difficult for you, if you're trying to doze, if you're tending to doze off, just walk around the venue whenever you feel like you're feeling a little like down. Just walk around the venue, or otherwise get involved in some volunteering activity. That will ensure that you stay awake. Important thing is, whichever way you do, whatever you work you do, idea is to keep your spine erect at night. So whatever works for you, either it's activity or just sitting still, if you can stay alert. Idea is to stay alert, that's all. Whatever activity you want to do which is supportive towards that, whatever food you want to eat which is supportive to that, please do that. Some people fast completely on that night. That is also a good way to do that. If you can fast on Mahashivratri and attend the program, and break your fast the next day, that's perfectly fine. Or you can go on a fruit diet, that will also help you stay alert throughout the night. Or eat light, that is also okay. You see whatever works for you. Okay, so we'll close here. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining, and hope it was useful for you today to join the live session. And please see if you can make use of today. If you can spend some time tonight, as much as possible, to meditate, because today is Dhanya Pournami. So if you can spend some time, connect with Devi. If you don't have a Devi Gudi or a Devi Yantra, or something at home, you can even visit someone's home where they have a Devi Yantra or a Devi Gudi. Spend some time there, or even otherwise, just see if you can, chant Devi Stuti, or just sit with your eyes closed and spend some time meditating today. It will be very helpful. And try to make use of Mahashivaratri in the next few days. Prepare yourself for this Mahashivaratri. Is considered as one of the most significant nights for a spiritual seeker. So please see if you can make use of the same. Hope all of you have a great Dhanya Purnami tonight, and also that you have a very fulfilling Mahashivratri. So thank you so much for joining, and please do stay connected. As I shared with you in the initial part of the conversation, I want to see how I can do programs in different places this year, and I had shared with you a link to fill up the form. I'll share this link in the description. So once I end this session, I'll update the description with this link. So please see if you can fill up that form as well, and look forward to, to meeting many of you in person as well this year. Thank you so much. Namaskaram.